It's Kristina.
Christine, don't do that because I had to think about it for a minute. All right, here we go. This week on the OneCast, we're joined by NPFL pro Seth Ellis's wife, Kristina Ellis, to provide her perspective on what it takes to be a pro angler spouse.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the OneCast. We're in 2025. I can't believe that's going on right now. But before we do that, Pete, what do they need to do?
Well, they need to start by going to OneCastFishing.com. Use the code TheOneCast. Check out all one word. Grab you some snagless jigs, long neck hooks, weedless Neds, soft plastics, especially the Nighthawk. We got a new special color coming soon that I'm going to burn through about 10,000 of this year. So you better order them because if not, I'm going to buy them all.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Again, that's OneCastFishing.com. Code TheOneCast, all one word. Grab you some of that tackle.
Yeah.
And then
save a lot of money, and then head on over to CarolinaWatersNC.com. Seth is actually repping the Carolina Waters hat. Pete's got Hobie on. CarolinaWatersNC.com. Use the code TheOneCast, all one word. Get yourself that UPF apparel, from those shirts to those neck buffs to the gloves. They got hats for men and women, and they're going to be promoting that stuff all year long because we are another partner again for 2025 with Carolina Waters. We love those guys. So check those guys out, CarolinaWatersNC.com. And then while you're online, use the code TheOneCast. And then while you're online, also go to your Google Play Store or Apple Store, whatever phone that you're using, and download the Deep Dive app. We partnered with those guys in 2024. We love the partnership. We actually used that product before we entered into a partnership with them. And those guys have a really great product that breaks down lakes for you guys, gives you the best areas to start fishing on the lake, gives you bait tools and techniques. You can target specific species of fish, largemouth, spotted, and smallmouth bass. And it pulls data from tournament winning patterns and data from professional anglers and guides across the world, or across, I guess, our nation. And they compile all that and then provide you with that awesome product. So Deep Dive app in your Play Store or your download store, whatever. And check those guys out. You can do the 7-day free trial, or you can do the yearly subscription, which we highly recommend because Pete and I have been using that. We had a lot of success.
Yeah, it works out to like $1 a week or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's very affordable. Definitely recommend that. And then use the link in our description. That'll take you to Hobie Eyewear. You can go to HobieEyewear.com and just buy them outright if you don't want to save money, but we'd really appreciate you using the link in the description on our link tree. It's on all of our socials. It'll save you some money. It helps us to grab you some of those floating frames. They got a brand new product launching. It's actually launching as we're recording this. Yep. And we're going to have a pair to give away when the Hobie guys join us next week or the week after for an episode.
Yep.
They're going to bring a pair in studio for us to give away to our listeners. So stay tuned for how we're going to run that. So you'll have a chance to grab those new frames. Again, that's Hobie Eyewear. Grab the floating frames, HobieEyewear.com. Use the link in our description to save money. They don't do codes, so just click that link. It looks a little weird. It's like a link dot something, but that takes you to Hobie's site, I promise you. And that's our affiliate link, so make sure you check them out. And if you're in North Carolina, again, we're super excited to have a brand new partner. We announced it on the last episode if you listened. If not, now you're hearing it. So it's Terry Carpenter, licensed North Carolina realtor at Coldwell Banker, Howard, Perry, and Walston. I'm going to get this down eventually. This is only the second time we've done it, so bear with me. Terry is a realtor here in Central North Carolina, does it full time. That is what his career is. So he's super dialed in. Helped me and my wife purchase our home here in North Carolina. Really broke his back for us. We now call him Uncle Terry. He's still friends with us. We communicate regularly, talk. He's a good friend. Look forward to fishing with him this year. He's a bass fisherman, so if you're looking for something specific for your home related to fishing, he's going to get it. Because when he asked us for our checklist of 10 things we want in the house, the only thing I wanted was a garage to fit my boat. So I gave him dimensions, and he measured every garage when I couldn't be there to view the house if Chelsea went by herself. Works with a bunch of different lenders, going to get you set up for everything you need for your home buying. Made the process super. It really wasn't stressful. You hear a lot of people talk about how stressful it is buying a house. it really wasn't stressful because we had a great realtor. So Terry Carpenter, licensed North Carolina realtor with Coldwell Banker Howard Perry Walton. You can get him at, I'm going to memorize this too, 919-475-5002 or carpentert@hpw.com. And I'm working on getting him in our link tree, so you'll be able to find him there as well. So appreciate having Terry on board, not just with the podcast, but he's sponsoring Trey and I for some of our fishing stuff this year. So super excited to have him. We'll be repping some of his stuff on the boat and jerseys. So looking forward to that. And yeah, that's where we're at. So 2025, episode 2. Ooh. This is like episode 104 overall. So we're getting over that 100 mark. Excited to hear Kristina's point of view.
It's Kristina.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Gonna get her to talk some smack about Seth. We muted his mic so he can't defend himself.
That's 100% accurate as he sits there and drinks his cold beverage. We have his wonderful wife here. So I want to bring her on right now for everyone listening. And if you're getting the chance to watch, if we have the video version up, Kristina Ellis, thank you for joining us here in the studio. I know it's about negative 400 degrees out right now, so we're trying to keep it warm in here. But thanks for coming down from Raleigh and taking some time with us and talking smack about your husband. So if you want to introduce yourself to everyone that's listening, I will say this too. This is the first time, which usually anytime you say it's the first time, you owe us a case of beer. So I owe you a case of beer. But first time we had a spouse on, and you guys, we don't really hear that unique perspective. I don't really ever. I've never heard anybody provide that perspective before. So really excited to get you on. So if you want to introduce yourself to everyone, you can be short, sweet, to the point, and then we'll dive right into it.
Yeah, so thank you, Trey and Pete, for having me. I am Kristina. I'm married to this guy here.
Oh, that's right. My mic's muted.
There you go. There
Well,
you go. Say it again.
Just don't yell at our listeners, please.
I won't.
You gotta whisper. So Seth and I have been together for a long time. And I am a wife to a NPFL angler. Mm-hmm. And we have 5 kids. And yeah, I stay home. I homeschool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, 5 kids, homeschooled, married to a traveling man, fishing the National Professional Fishing League, which we're huge supporters of that league. Great family environment. We're going to get into that here. So let's just crack this off. Like, how did you and Seth meet?
So
let's do that one.
It's a funny story, and I love telling it. I got a text one day from my dad, and he was like, "Hey, I have someone that I want you to meet." And I was like, "Okay." He was like, he's, I think at the time, 31, 32. He was like, he's 31. He's 6'5", and he played professional football. And I was like, yes. What does he look like? And he sends me a picture, and what do you know? It's a picture of him holding a fish. And I said, do you have another picture?
Preferably one in the locker room. No, just kidding.
And he does send me another picture. I actually think he texted Seth, and he was like, do you have a picture that I can send her?
This one's not good enough.
Without a fish, please.
And he sends me a picture. It's another picture of him and his brother Ross. And I was like, okay, when am I meeting this guy? I showed the picture. I was with my niece at the time, who I'm really close with. And she was like, yeah, you got to meet him. So I was like, okay, when are you introducing me to this guy? And he was like, well, we're going to be, he lives in Charlotte, but he's going to be coming up, and I want you to come out to meet us for dinner, and gave me the date. Well, that day, my dad texted me again. He was like, dinner's out, meet us at Angie's house, which is my stepsister. And I did, and I think Seth had been drinking the whole day.
They couldn't even take him out in public.
And I think that's why dinner was out
That's
because
not true. I didn't drink the whole day. And I'll let her tell the story, but I had fished a CBC on Norman that day. So
Okay.
we were on our way back from Norman, and I
Drank on the way back.
I had a couple beverages from Norman to where they live at in STEM, so it's like 3 hours. I mean, it wasn't that bad.
So I walk in the house, and I took my niece with me because I just
Now you're nervous. I mean, the guy canceled dinner. Like,
I
no.
know. And so I walk in, and he doesn't look at me. But, you know, I say hey to everyone else. And my stepsister, Angie, has a bar in her basement. And they were like, well, let's go downstairs. So everyone goes downstairs, including Seth, and I stay upstairs with my dad, and I was like, holy shit, that's like the hottest guy I've ever seen. Why did it take you so long
Don't say nothing, Seth. Just smile.
to introduce me to him? And he was like, don't tell me. Go downstairs, tell him. So I go downstairs, and we have ourselves a night. We have ourselves a night.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. One of my dad's friends was there, and he and Seth are picking on each other. And it wasn't until I'm a very awkward person, I think, just by nature. And so I thought that he wanted absolutely nothing to do with me the night we met, because when I came downstairs, we didn't really interact a whole lot. I was the one that made the first move somehow, even being the awkward person that I am.
Shy Seth.
I know.
Shy Seth.
I was playing hard to get.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Slick.
Yeah. And so anyway, he had to fish the next day. I don't think that went over too well. They had a hard time getting him up that morning because, like I said, we had ourselves a night. But yeah, from that night on, that was it.
Well, I'm
Pretty
glad.
much.
I mean, it's always fun sitting there listening to your wife talk about
Yeah.
the first time you met.
Was there any concern though that like he was yelling at everybody? You weren't worried?
Yes,
Okay.
actually.
A
I
little bit
think my
worried?
dad had a talk with him.
You
You need to calm down.
Yeah.
Cole Harris is going to eat this up if he listens to this. Stop.
Oh, he's going to
yelling
listen because I'm going to
at
text him and make
me.
sure he does.
Yeah. So, okay. Your dad's a bass angler, correct?
So Seth, you guys were fishing against or together?
Oh, no, together. So I lived here before I moved to Charlotte. I lived down in the Lidlington area and spent a lot of time on Harrison Jordan back in the day. And I had actually fished against him when he was with another team partner of his. So when I moved to Charlotte, I was introduced to a guy by the name of Jason Quinn. And my father-in-law actually used to paint baits for him. And one day Jason told me that he knew a guy from where I was from if I had ever fished against him. Long story short, he had exchanged numbers with him, and we got to talking. And then he's like, "Hey, would you mind showing me some stuff if you could come back over?" And that's kind of how her and I set the, he set the date up for us to meet. But yeah, I mean, he's been fishing around here for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all Seth's waypoints are really your dad's
Right, exactly.
waypoints. So,
Pretty much.
So Seth was 31, so this was like 20 years ago.
Right.
You haven't aged at all, Seth. Maybe not the hottest guy in this room, but
yeah.
that's Trey.
Yeah. No. It's not good
But
there.
so how long? So you're 40 now, correct?
Yep,
So
40.
you've been together almost 10 years.
No, we've been together. It'll be 9. We'll be 9.
Nine.
this
We're
year.
talking to
Not
Kristina.
We're talking to
nine-
Kristina. Mute him
yeah.
again.
Shut your mouth.
It'll be 9 years that we have
Okay.
been. Well, was it 9? No.
Yes.
No. No.
Yeah.
It was
Jerry,
2000. It was
Jerry.
it was 2017.
Well,
Regardless.
this just happened.
Yeah.
You guys been married for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he proposed 9 months after we met.
Okay. Where did he propose?
Okay, so it was
Let's not go into
Oh yeah, we're going into this. Muting
It
him
was-
now.
it was super cute. So I have 3 kids from a previous relationship that Seth is their dad. But I was cooking dinner, and they came into the kitchen, each of them holding a sign. And and I think Lucy, who was 3 at the time, hers was upside down. But so the oldest, Zoe, hers said Will, and Maggie's said you, Lucy's said Mary, and Seth was in the other room, down on one knee, and he didn't have one. He said me, and that's
That's
all he has.
awesome.
It is.
That is super awesome.
Yelled, not said, but yeah.
and I yelled the whole thing.
Through a magnaphone or whatever they call it. Yeah, bullhorn. No, I mean that's awesome. They say a lot of ladies marry somebody that resembled their dad. Okay.
That could be. You don't.
Maybe not from a physical perspective.
Not
no,
a physical perspective, not at all, because my dad is like 5'11", 6 feet tall. Seth is obviously 6'5".
Yeah.
But I have known fishing my whole life
Yep.
because of my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he went fishing the night he and my mom got married. So
He's
like
a
I
savage.
said,
I like that. Yeah.
she might not have been too happy, but Seth is, traits of that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Same value system, or maybe equal to, and stuff like that. So, man, I love this. Look, we've never had this
So
before.
did you before? I mean, I say only dated 9 months, but that some people are gonna say that's not a long time, but I think that's
A
more.
lot of people
I think
would say
that's more normal now, because I knew. You can talk to my wife. Like I knew. I think I told her on our 3rd date, like if I didn't do something stupid, we were gonna end up getting married. It took a year before I proposed, just because I wanted time, like where I wanted to do it, the idea I had in my head, all that. But so I think it's faster now. So did
So
you have those?
You and Chelsea dated a year, and then you got engaged.
Yeah, but I mean, we knew we were going to get engaged. Maybe 9 months,
Wait.
8-9 months. Like we knew, it was pretty evident. She moved in that time. Like there was a lot of things that.
Yeah.
Well, I can say that because her dad's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Frank. But yeah, she was living with me. He's gonna haunt me for that. But so we knew. But like timing how I wanted to do it, I wanted to get his permission and trying to line. And I was also traveling for work a lot at that time. So like I was gone 2-3 weeks at a clip. And then I came down here for the 2-year temporary job 7 years ago, whatever that was. So we were long distance. She would come down and stay, go back. So there was a lot of like different factors, but we knew in that same time frame. And so my question is, did you have the conversations about like his dreams of wanting to fish at a higher level in that time of dating? Did you kind of know what you could be getting yourself into potentially? Because obviously he was fishing locally quite a bit. I know he fished a lot of the local stuff, and he was fishing with your dad, and he was fishing solo stuff. And did you ever have that conversation and kind of know what you may be getting into?
I don't know if we had the conversation of him, like really had the conversation of him fishing how he is now. But to me, it's not so different from how he was fishing. Yes, he is gone on the road more. But he fished all the time, and that's how he made money. And I knew that if he was going to do it and do it right, that's what he needed to do. He needed to fish. And I know a lot of people don't understand that there's practice involved. Some people are like, well, you know how to fish, right? You just go out. No, there's a lot that goes into it. And I think the first time I ever fished a tournament with him is when I really grasped how much goes into it. But I don't know if we actually had, I mean, I knew that he wanted to fish for a living. I knew that's what he wanted to do. I don't think until last year, really, when the opportunity came about him fishing with the MPFL, did we really have the conversation of him, you know, doing it really full time.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Like, I know a lot of anglers here regionally. They're gone a lot, and sometimes they don't come back home. But I know guys like our good buddy Mikey Nadeau with Carolina Waters, CarolinaWatersNC.com. Use that code, TheOneCast. He fishes more than anybody that I know. To like
6 days a
Monday
week,
through Monday,
7 days a
right?
week.
Yeah, if there was 8 days in a week, he'd fish it. So he's gone all the time.
It's almost no different.
It's almost no different,
traffic,
right?
because you're fishing all these different night tournaments. You're practicing for the bigger events, ABAs, CBCs. I mean, there's guys that put a lot of time in for the Piedmont. That's a bigger trail. Collins, you have, what's the other big one? There's a bunch of them.
Angler's
Choice. So you have all these larger
Cat Trail stuff.
Cat Trail. Yeah, I mean, we could go down a whole list. So you're still, if that's what you're doing to make money regionally, you're still fishing. You're probably away more. You might be at home at night, but
I mean, I was fishing.
You're up and gone, you know?
Well, when we first met, we were 2 months into our relationship, and I had qualified for the Ray Scott National Championship through the ABA circuit. So I had gone to Nashville to Lake. I can't remember the lake, but
Was it Hickory?
Lake Hickory, Old Hickory,
Okay, yeah.
Old Hickory Lake.
Hickory.
So I was gone for a week up there in top 20 that event, and came back with a check. And then like the season started here, and we were together, but I was gone a lot. I mean, I was at that point in time, I was fishing full time locally, so I was 4 days a week.
Yep.
Easy, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fish a tournament on Saturday, take Sunday off, maybe take Monday off, and then I was right back at it Tuesday. And it was just between Bugs, Jordan, and Falls. That's the only three that I fished. Now I would fish Harris every once in a while.
When it was good.
Yeah, but even then, like I would just kind of go wherever the next tournament was at.
Sure.
My fun fishing was never until the wintertime.
Okay.
Like it was a job for me. You know what I mean?
Yep. So before we get into, because I really want to talk about like when that invitation was sent out about the MPFL, right? Because for those of you who don't know, we've talked about it numerous times on here. You don't just pay your tournament entry fee and get in the MPFL. It's invitation.
I think even before the invitation to the conversation about how that came up that he was going to apply.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want to get into that too. But what I did want to address, your dad said, you got a professional football player here. Right?
You thought NFL.
Yeah.
I didn't. He told me.
I thought you were going to be like Brian Urlacher. Like, what's going
Right.
on here? Does he even play anymore?
No, he's retired.
Urlacher's been out of the game.
Yeah, he's like
about
70 now.
Well, listen, I don't watch
Urlacher's
foosball.
probably 50.
Okay.
You don't watch football?
I only watch the Lions right now because they're winning. Because
He's from-
I'm
From
from
Kalamazoo.
And I'm a Dan
Bengals
Campbell
aren't
fan.
in the playoffs, but
Yeah.
you know, you could watch them too.
I'm calling the
Steelers
Lions
are
going
there.
to the bowl this year.
Hey,
First time in history.
I would rather the Lions
Thank you.
go
Thank you.
than anyone.
I want to see some bandwagon
Steelers.
jumpers here.
As
I love
long
Dan
as it,
Campbell.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
dude, Dan
Phenomenal.
Campbell is
yes.
Dan Campbell is the epitome of a football coach.
Yeah.
Like
Pittsburgh, Detroit Super Bowl.
not a chance. Your offense is dismal.
All right,
dude.
we're getting off topic here.
As long as it's not the Chiefs.
Okay.
Fair.
Ooh. So a lot of Chiefs fans out there.
T-Swift, man.
Sorry. But so you had this like idea that you had this football player, professional football player.
She already said he was the hottest guy.
Hottest guy you've ever seen. You get married. He's fishing a lot and things like that. Was there ever a point in there where you're like, are you gonna do anything different? Or Any question about it?
No.
Yeah.
And I think because from the very beginning, he told me, this is what I do. And this is not me tooting my own horn. Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
His poor dog doesn't wag its own tail.
Yeah, I feel like I have supported him in the best way that I possibly could from the very beginning because I know that that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been around fishing my whole life. I know more now what it takes to be good and what it takes to cash checks, which, you know, that's a big part of it when fishing is all you're doing.
Yep.
And you have a wife that's home, not working, homeschooling your kids. You know, I have to support him in any way that I can. I don't think I had really ever questioned him doing anything else. And I don't really know if I feel like I could. You know, Seth came into a not so easy situation. My dad told him about me, I think 5 months before we even met. My dad says that he was feeling him out, making sure that he would be a good fit for his youngest daughter. And
That's a good dad.
Yeah. When Seth and I finally met, I think one of the first things I said to him was like, you know, I have 3 kids, right? And
Solid icebreaker.
yeah, right.
Yeah, you might as well just throw it on the table.
True story.
Hey, so before I met my wife, I dated a couple of
You dated
ladies,
a couple?
a couple of ladies that had kids, and they all led with that because if you're not ready for that, then there's no
Right.
sense in wasting time. So.
Exactly. And of course, my dad told him my situation, that I had 3 kids, and I think Seth's response was, what did you say? Because we were texting, and he was like, "What?"
He yelled it like all caps.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my heart sank, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he doesn't know." He called me 10 seconds later and was laughing on the other end. He was like, "Of course I know."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's not funny at all."
Wow.
That's pretty funny.
But
But she didn't tell me they were all girls.
We'll get into that.
yes.
Her dad didn't tell you that either?
Yes, he did. I'm sure he
You
did.
just didn't hear it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because he was looking at my picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. There's
He told us.
There's no active listening when you're googly eyeing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
job.
you know, Seth, because of him coming into the situation that he came into and stepping into a role that nobody ever asked him to step into, I didn't want to question what he wanted to do for a living.
Right.
He was good at fishing. He wanted to fish. Hell yeah, I'm going to support you. I'm going to stand behind you, and you do whatever you got to do to fish.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever I've got to do for you to fish. And that's just what my mindset has been.
Damn. That's powerful.
It is.
Seriously, it is. Like, no bullshit. Beep. Last question before I move in, or we move
It's
into
you.
the
Yeah,
invitation.
just let you run with it.
I know I do this all the time. I'm so sorry. I'm just great at
I'm
this.
just here for
Was there anything? Was there like a career or a job or whatever where when you, like, if say your dad didn't tell you like he was a football player and you like to fish, was there like, yeah, I can't be with somebody in this type of job, or I can't be with somebody in this type of career or anything? You're like, okay, this is where I draw the line. Like, he cannot be a male stripper, you know, something like that.
Yeah, probably no male strippers.
Okay. He'd probably be pretty. You think he'd be good at it? You're sitting back.
Have
there.
you
This isn't.
Yeah, honey, would I be good at it?
Yeah.
It's not your show, Seth. Your opinion.
him.
I think
nothing.
I think he would.
All right, cool.
I have a couple of videos on my phone.
Okay,
yeah, you're gonna need to send
fantastic.
it.
Look,
yeah, so-
you're gonna have to edit that out.
yeah.
No, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it'll go on our Patreon account that we're probably going to start here. You're welcome. So nothing really, like, it seems like you were really open-minded. You guys were just like, hey, let's see where this goes. Almost kind of a love at first sight type deal.
100% on Seth's end.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
He looked at me.
I mean,
he was all quiet when we met. I knew, like, right then and there.
I mean, I didn't actually love
No,
you
I
at
hated
first.
Trey.
Yeah, we hated each other.
We were like, I went home.
and then
Chelsea was like, "You got to meet this dude, Trey. He's a major DB.
Yeah.
Like he thinks he's
Super
better
bad.
than everybody in the room.
Yeah.
He's always interjecting
I
into
know.
conversations. He
Yeah.
knows everything.
And now
About
look at
everything.
y'all. You were in.
We ended up at we became brothers.
Do you
Like
see the like symbiotic relationship here?
You guys finish each other's sentences.
Sandwiches.
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 Yeah.
Absolutely.
You guys drink after one another. Like it's just it goes together.
There's no not finishing
Yeah,
the
backwash.
last sip. Okay, and we all know that's saliva. But anyways, so all right, so you're married.
Where'd you get married?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah. Where'd you get married?
We got married. Okay, so again, me supporting his dream of fishing. When he proposed,
At a weigh-in.
Just had the JP come to the weigh-in. Phil McCarson did it at the weigh-in.
The Big Al would say, "There's the boom. We now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss your fishermen."
that's funny, babe. No, when I was looking for venues, I wanted a venue on water.
Okay.
One that had a lake. And before I booked the venue, I said, "Can my husband and his groomsmen fish while we're getting ready?" And she said, "Yes." So we have pictures of them fishing. I don't know if anybody did. You catch something that day?
Oh no, your brother.
My
did.
brother did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brother caught like
I think
five.
my brother's the only one that caught anything, but they got to fish.
Yeah.
While
Private lake.
Yep. It's I can't remember the name of it.
it's called Carver Lake Venue.
Carver Lake Venue. It's in Prospect Hill, so it's up north of like Mayo and Hyco, that area. Yeah, it's a beautiful place, man. Beautiful place.
Yeah, very pretty, and they keep adding new things to it.
Did you have a pretty big wedding? Fairly small?
No.
No, we had less than 100 people. But you got to understand something too. Like most of my family is still in Ohio, much like yours is, right? So and most of my family is older, with the exception of some siblings. But so it's hard for a lot of people to get down here.
Family, all
Yeah.
that
So
kinda
obviously her family base was much larger, but I did have some really, really cool guests show up that I hadn't seen in years, and it was just
I didn't get invited.
God, I wish I would have known.
I didn't even know you.
Well, you should have.
It was a good time though. Awesome. Yeah, it was definitely a night to remember for sure.
Awesome.
I caught you to this delicious
I don't know why he
bass.
answered the question when we were talking to her, but whatever.
We're just gonna give him hell the whole time.
I like how he just rolls his eyes at me now.
yeah.
He used to talk back.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in the
At least he's like
here.
sitting less than 6'5" right now.
Well, I was told not to Shrek my wife out of the picture.
Who told you that, Trey? Come on, man.
All right, so got married on the lake.
Yep.
What year did you get married?
2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, so quick engagement, quick marriage. Everything moved pretty fast.
We met February 17th or 18th. February 17th or 18th of 2017, and then got married October 13th of 2018.
That's
I
awesome.
met my wife in March of 2017.
God, I don't remember when I met mine. Sophomore
Well, you
year of
were
high
a
school.
youngin'.
What, like 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Long time?
Well, they met in high
No,
school.
when he was like
okay.
15 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stole my best friend's girlfriend. It's a country song, but anyways, no, that's awesome, man. Like you guys seem like you got it, and you have not only 3 girls, but now you have 2 more.
We have 2 more,
Right.
a 3-year-old girl, and then our boy.
Oh,
Last
yeah, you have a
one.
boy. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He just turned 1.
My bad.
You got to research better.
No,
sorry.
well, look, we knew we wanted to have another one,
Yeah.
and we kind of expected that we were going to have 5 girls, but
Yeah, I would expect that. For
Yeah.
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I knew better.
You knew better.
Yeah.
You called it.
Well, only because I look at my family history.
Yeah.
Right. So my brother, his first child, my oldest brother's first child was a girl. Second child was a boy.
Oh.
My youngest brother's first child was a girl. Second child was a boy.
His dad.
It was inevitable. My dad
Yeah,
was the
it
same
works
way.
out.
Yeah, and you guys are all like giants, right?
For the most part,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
He thinks.
we're normal. So, like
We're all abnormal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are just short. We're just normal.
To anybody listening, don't use that as your basis on what your child might be. Because my mom and dad, boy, girl. My oldest sister, 4 boys.
Yeah.
My older sister did have a girl, but 2 boys and a girl. My brother in Wyoming, 3 boys. And my younger sister, 3 boys.
You know
so
what
one girl had all that.
Well, so I did some research, right? Because she knows this. I was super bummed when I found out it was a girl. Now, my daughter's my
I was
road
like,
dog.
she's gonna watch
your
that and
first-
hate you
My
forever.
first
Your
daughter,
first daughter?
My first daughter, I was super bummed because I wanted a son. Every man wants
Every
a son,
man
right?
wants a son,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was bummed. Now she's my road dog. But I read something that a lot of high active males
Have females.
have females, right?
That's absolutely right.
The older I got, I slowed down. Then I had my son.
That's right.
Oh, it was by design. You did that.
No, but if you look, like my brother had his son when he was 50.
Oh, wow.
My dad had me and my brother when he was 45 and 47.
Oh.
So it's just a thing where it's like high activity males have a lot of females for whatever reason. So it now that I look back on it, it made sense.
Yeah. Yeah, most of us in my career community most of them have all girls, right? I got lucky and got a boy girl, and then we done. You know what I'm saying? But
Trey's a stripper for everybody doesn't know.
I am not. You don't want to see this keg rolling around, okay? All right, so you got this whole platoon. And the reason why we're talking about this is because this is leading up to the MPFL, right? You had all these children before you got into the
And he
MPFL.
fished the entire time.
And he
locally,
fished the entire
regionally.
time.
That never
Fish
changed.
the entire time.
Yep. So let's go to
The conversation about him wanting to apply to the MPFL.
So we went to see a friend of his race, and we kind of went with my dad, and we were kind of talking about it on the way there. You know, this is gonna cost a lot of money. Should I do it? Should I not? I'm gonna be gone, you know, at least 6 weeks. And that's just for the tournaments, not counting any practice time or any time before or after for travel. That's literally just the tournament time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Not real quick, Seth, 10 words or less. How did you learn about the MPFL and decide that was something you wanted to pursue?
Mike Corbersley.
Okay, perfect. Back to the conversation.
everybody knows Mike Corber. So
By the way, Trey and I both counted.
Yeah.
We were ready.
I actually went to 3, but it's 2 syllables, so I had to backtrack here.
So you had that conversation. You were having conversations culminating in this ride to watch his friend race.
yeah. So, and I think it actually started before that. He talked to a couple of guys that do fish with, or had fished the previous year with the MPFL, or were going to fish. And, you know, in order to get an invitation or be able to fish, you know, you can't just say, hey, I want to do this. You have to be invited. So Seth had to get referrals, I guess. There were several guys that said, hey, this guy needs to be fishing here with us. Mm-hmm. And I think Corbishley was one of them.
Yeah, Mike was one. I think Jesse was one. Richard
Jesse
Cooper was
Wise.
one.
Yep.
Yeah, Jesse Wise. Yep, those guys. Because
And that's big because with the league, if Seth flakes,
it's on those guys.
That's on
Yeah,
him.
yeah, for sure. I'm
Right.
forever grateful for those guys that putting their name out there for me. I mean, anybody can apply, but just because you apply doesn't mean you're going to get picked.
Right.
Right. So I was very fortunate. Those guys said, "Hey, yeah, this dude can sling it, and he needs to be out here with us." So, yeah, thankful for those guys.
Yeah. So when he got the call from Brad Fuller. He, obviously didn't accept it right then and there. We talked about it, and I was like, look, you just need to do it, right? Really, what is gonna hold you back from doing it? You fish all the time anyway. Mm-hmm. If you are out of town, guess what? I hold the fort down. It's fine.
You're already at this point holding the fort down essentially Monday through Saturday.
Right.
I
mean,
because he's gone. He's gone before sunup, and he comes back after sundown.
Right.
All the time.
And now
smelling like fish. Hopefully.
Yes. Every time he comes home, our kids will be like, "Daddy, you smell like fish."
Yeah. Well, poor hygiene too. So.
He bathes once every 3 days.
Look, I will vouch for him on that. That man does not have poor hygiene. He showers probably more than
he's supposed to.
Yeah, most.
It's unhealthy at this point.
Yeah, no natural oil in his skin. Hair oil's gone.
I know.
Just scrubs it out with zest.
I know.
I mean, that's why I've got so much gray hair. I've washed the color out of it.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go.
Silverback.
So, I told him, I was like, you just need to do it. Mm-hmm. And we knew that it was going to be a challenge, not just with him being gone, but financially. That is a huge, huge part of it because, I don't think a lot of people take into account how much really goes into it, not just the entry fees, but the travel, the food. I mean, the tackle. There's so much that obviously you guys know, but
not at that level. We don't.
Well,
but we understand it.
You understand, and so we knew that it was going to be tough.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if he would ever get another chance like that again. So I wanted him to take that chance and be able to live something that he's dreamed about. So that was pretty much it. He pretty much
Did he have an invite yet at that point, or was he still considering applying?
No, he had the invite at that point, and I said, "You need to say yes. Yeah, you need to do it because we'll figure it out."
Yeah. Did you? This is for if you can answer this.
Yeah.
Did he have sponsorships already locked in before? Okay,
no,
so
not at all.
What was that experience like? So when you got the invite, right? We're trying to go in chronological order here, I guess.
Real quick, before the invite, was there a conversation like, "Hey, I'm going to apply to this," or did you just kind of? And either of you can answer if you're not 100% sure. Did you apply? Just kind of think, I'm going to see what happens if I get in. Then we'll have these tough. They are tough conversations. So.
Yeah, I mean, we had talked about it because I had wanted to apply it the year before, but financially it just wasn't right.
Yeah. We had kind of reached out to a few people, and we knew it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So, last year, came along again. Applications.
You had a better feeling.
Yeah.
That we could possibly make this thing happen, but at the same time, it's funny how things happen, and you look at it, and you would have never in a million years. I put my application in, and I'm like, man, I'm not going to get in. I can remember the call, man. Like, I got chills. I was on Bugs Island with my father-in-law, practicing for a tournament, and I saw this number come up, and I just answered it from Ohio because I'm from Ohio.
Right.
And it was Brad Fuller. He's like, "Hey, Seth, Brad Fuller in PFL." And I knew then. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I remember getting the call from him after he got off.
Was he crying?
Brad. No,
dang.
He wasn't.
He does cry though.
He does.
He's a
Look,
crier.
he's
I
a
am a
softie.
crier. But I remember I looked at my father-in-law and I'm like, I'm in. And he's like, his eyes got wide. I was sat out in the middle of bugs for like 20 minutes. We had the conversation, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm not trying to cut this short, but I don't want to lose you for bad service. Can I call you later? Absolutely. I called her. I had the conversation on the water with my father-in-law, and it was like, all right, all systems go. Let's try to make this thing work.
You're like, hey, Dad, let me get 50K.
Well,
Yeah,
I called
that'd
my
be
mom
nice.
and dad, and they don't have 50K to give me.
No,
And
I got
look,
you.
I just got invited to fish, you know, the NPFL. And
Yeah.
Of course, my dad's been my biggest, you know, other than my wife, my dad has been my biggest supporter.
Good save.
Good. I was gonna say the
No,
same thing.
she
Good
knows
save.
that. I mean, my grandfather's where I'm at because of my grandfather's where I'm at now, and my dad has always been my biggest supporter. So when I told him that, he
I get
He
it.
he
probably
broke,
cried.
He cried,
Yeah,
because my dad
for
knows
sure.
how important it is to me.
Oh, I get it.
But yeah, it was one
I
of
mean,
those
my
things.
dad
where,
calls me every tournament, no matter
Yeah.
how.
Yeah.
Every
His-
tournament I've ever
his-
fished at noon.
Yeah,
His dad.
I mean, you can't in the league, but at noon, my dad is calling. Even now, he calls me and Trey, like, "What do you got?"
Yeah.
I'm like, if
We
someday
actually
when I
wait
don't
on
get that call, it's gonna hurt. But when it
Yeah.
starts getting close, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Why hasn't he called us yet?" Like,
We said it during the derby. Like, wait a minute,
yeah,
it's past 11:30 here.
yeah. My old
And
man
you-
hadn't called yet.
And usually, you know, sometimes a phone call, I mean, in those
does.
tournaments, like stimulates you.
It's happened more than
Right.
once where he called
Stimulates
us this year.
performance.
yeah.
Yeah.
We had like 3 fish, and we're like, "Man, we got 3." He's like, "Keep grinding," and then you bang 2 real quick, and it's like
Okay.
it's almost like you got revitalized by somebody
Yeah.
calling and checking in.
Yeah. Which you can't do, by the way. We'll talk about that.
Can't do that in the NPFL.
No, right.
So you get the first,
Got the invite, no ink on paper for money, but you had some conversations and kind of thought maybe I'm going to be able to pull some dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and I didn't know how much. I mean, I never had a clue of how much money I was going to be able to get. Right,
Right.
and I knew that minimum it was going to cost me $34,000 in entry fees minimum.
And never any hesitation from you. You were like, "You're in. We'll figure it out."
I said, we'll figure it out. Let's do it.
rock star.
Look,
Right.
she's got more confidence in me than I have in my own self.
I know she does, and we're working
Our
on
wives
that.
usually do. My wife's the same way.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's got
My wife
because
just
I'm
tells me to shut up and do it.
much like you, we're super analytical, right? We
We're gonna
don't
be
want to
Oh
do
my gosh.
anything unless it is concrete, makes sense. She's like, "Nah, we'll figure it out." I'm like, "How you figure out?"
we're our
35
biggest
grand?
critics. We're always going to hammer
Yeah,
ourselves.
But
100%.
guess what?
You did it.
We figured it
We
out.
figured it out.
We did.
Yeah. Now on to year 2.
Trey's probably
Figure it
better, the best out of the 3 of us at looking at the positive, just because of the way
Oh,
he came,
for
the culture he
sure.
grew up
It's
in.
been years. It's taken years.
But he's done
guys.
it. But you had to do it.
Yeah.
Like for us, I can't do that, and
I know.
which it works for us together.
It
But
does.
my wife's always the one that I'll come home and be like,
She's a rock
this
star.
is what
too.
happened. She's like, well, what'd you learn? And I'm like, well, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And then you realize you actually, it wasn't all negative, even when you sucked.
Yeah. So I used to have this and we'll get back to you, I promise. I used to have this like little routine. I was almost symbolic where when I would go out,
It's
I'd
called
walk
superstition.
Yeah, superstition. I'd walk out of the house, whether or not it'd be going to another country, doing whatever, or a tournament, and I'd look at my wife and be like, wish me good luck, and she's like, nope, you don't need it. And I'd be like, damn, because when she did wish me luck, I would suck. Yeah. At whatever it was, right? I think there was a time I was jumping out of some aircraft and I had a bad shoot, right? That's the worst thing you ever want. You're like, this thing's supposed to open. No. And I think she told me good luck that day. I had to jump twice that day, and never again will I ask her to tell me good luck. And because she's like, you don't need it.
This is something I wanted to bring up
Yeah.
last week. I'm sorry, we're kind of getting sidebar here, but we've had conversations, and I've had a lot of people that have made a living doing similar jobs to you, and I think folks may not understand why you jumped twice that day.
Oh yeah.
Because the first thing anybody's going to do when you have that negative experience and near death is tell you to get back in a plane and go jump, because you have to push through that. And it goes for fishing too. Like you had to
Exactly.
push through
Exactly.
the fear of the unknown. And she was your CO jump out, whatever you want to
Yep.
call it. Like she was like, we'll figure it out, get out there and do what you
do it.
You do what you do. We'll figure the rest of this out.
Worst thing you can do is take time off from fishing. We'll talk about that too, because we'll talk about the NPFL schedule and how it works, right? All right, so back to you.
Now he's committed.
When how he's committed, what does the family dynamic look like when your angler is going through and you're involved, right? Because you handle a lot of things. So what does that look like? What does the stress look like when you're trying to rally up dollars,
So
doll hairs?
it's different in different situations.
Sure.
So the beginning, before the season started last year, we had what I thought was going to be a really good sponsor, or a meeting with a really good potential sponsor. And we had that meeting. It's someone that I have known for a long time, and it just didn't pan out. And even through the meeting, though, Seth and I went and talked to this person, and, you know, we felt really good after talking to him, and nothing ever came of it. And that is super stressful, especially when we go in thinking that it's going to be good and come out of the meeting thinking that it's going to be good.
And that happens with the majority of these conversations,
Yes.
right? You feel great, and then you never hear another word.
You just really have to get used to hearing no. And in my mind, I'm thinking, why wouldn't you want to? You know, this is, it's obviously not free advertising, but you get your name out there to an audience that you never would have thought about, and it's a tax write-off. You know, why say no? And so when they say no, yes, I question it, but and it's like, damn, like that sucks, but you on to the next. And that's what we did. And we walked into one place. We had a meeting, and really didn't expect anything going in. I think because of the first meeting that we had, and we walked out with a check, and that was, we were like, okay, absolutely, we can at least get the season started. And so when you get the sponsorship dollars, that takes so much pressure off. Seth, on the other hand, is thinking way far in advance, and he's like, I don't have the money for this. I don't have the sponsorship dollars for this. Like, we have this, and this, and that's going to take care of that part of it. Sorry. I talk with my hands. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
We have this, and this, and we have to get more for the next later on in the year. So I think the stress is always there,
Sure.
But you just have to figure out how to manage it. Because Seth is the one that stresses, I am the one that stays positive, saying we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's typically what happens. We figure it out.
What was your? I mean, eventually you got. We'll talk about that in a minute. What was your role as the angler spouse in these negotiations?
So I reached out to all of these sponsors.
Okay.
Mainly because I knew them, or I've known them longer, or some of them. And Seth and I came up with the sponsorship package together, because that is not something that I had any.
There's like no doctrine
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. So I had no experience with that whatsoever. I was like, I have no idea what to ask for. I know what
You need.
we need,
Yeah.
but no clue what to ask for. People could look at us like we are, I mean,
Like a
Aliens,
single
you know?
PowerPoint slide. Like we need money.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we came up with that together, and I did a lot of the back and forth, and would schedule the times for us to go in and meet with them. But Seth did most of the talking because,
He's good at it.
this exactly, and I
good at
am
it.
not.
I disagree, but he's good at it.
Well, thank you. I have said that from the very first day that we met. Actually, we went to a show in South Carolina. What was that?
We went to back when it was FLW, went to the Cup, the Forest Wood Cup.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Murray. The one that.
Rest in peace, Forrest Wood. Yeah, the one that Gagliardi won.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. The one that Gagliardi won.
Know your fishing history, pro. Keep going.
And I was watching him just talk to people, and I was just in awe. And I was like, how do you do that?
Yeah, you don't even talk to me like that.
Exactly.
He definitely doesn't talk to me like that.
Well, he doesn't talk to you.
No.
He yells at you.
Wait, I don't even get that anymore.
Somebody would answer the phone.
So, and it would be people that he doesn't know,
Yeah.
or he's talking about something that he just learned about, like he has known about it forever. And I'm like, how do you do that?
I mean, he
How-
walked right up to me at Raleigh last year without us ever having met and introduced himself. And
That's what I'm
said Brad and Paul said, come talk to
Yeah.
y'all. And
Yeah,
You're thinking to yourself, like, you bullshitted this relationship.
exactly.
unbelievable.
Unreal.
Hard
I
to
love
get.
it. Hey,
Right.
hey,
He just knew if he
It's-
opened
it's
that big
called
ogre
hustling.
mouth, he might mess
it's
up.
called hustling, right?
Right.
He's a good hustler,
Right.
and his partner in crime.
Like, I got her, but she hears me talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna yell right in her face from 16 feet away. No, I'm just kidding. So,
Just cannon fodder in his podcast.
hey, that's a
right?
great.
Hey,
I
this
love
is for
that
her.
analogy. I love that analogy. So yeah, so your role, like you had the network.
Yeah.
Right, you knew
Or
the
I,
people.
I
Locally.
knew some
Some,
people. I didn't know enough.
You knew a lot locally, though, where he didn't necessarily have those local business connections because he didn't grow up here. I know
Right.
you moved here and lived here for a little while, but
Yeah.
still, you had the network to introduce him to those
Yeah,
folks.
I was born and raised in Durham. That's where we still are.
Yep.
And know a lot of people there.
That's
And,
good.
Just
Let me ask you this question.
yeah.
You had personal relationships with some of these businesses,
Yeah.
right? Did it in any way, shape, or form compromise your relationship with them when they said no?
No.
Okay, good.
No,
I was just
not at all.
wondering,
The first one that I was telling you about, absolutely not. That I will love him and his family forever, and I know that he will love our family forever.
Okay.
He is a wonderful, wonderful person, and had nothing to do with him, really. So no, it did not affect the relationship. Like I said, you have to get used to people saying no because not everyone understands
The benefit.
what it is, right, and the benefit, and why they would
Do this.
invest anything into fishing.
I get
From this little segment, for lack of a better term, to anybody listening, wives, girlfriends, spouses, husbands, whatever, I think it's important. The question Trey asks is, you cannot let this impact relationships because we all have to make business decisions. And while they may personally have really wanted to give Seth $100,000 to go fish for a year, if it wasn't a smart business decision, they had to make that decision for the business. It wasn't personal.
that's right.
Right.
It's a business
absolutely.
decision based upon their business succeeding.
Right. So I just actually had a phone call the other day with a guy, successful business owner, doing really well for himself. Met through another business owner. It didn't make sense for him. But what did make sense for him was to do something else, right? So it may not always be monetary. Now, granted, that is the ultimate goal, because money is what makes the world go round, but sometimes it doesn't. And you can't hold that against that person, whether you have a personal relationship with them or not, because it doesn't make financial sense for them. And I completely understand that.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't always, money does make the world go round, but if they have a service that they can provide to you,
And that
is
is
less
what
money.
they have done.
That's less money
Right.
you have to pay for said service, which in turn saves you money towards your fishing.
Correct.
So it all ultimately is money. It just may not be a check written to you in your name.
Sure. Yeah.
But the other takeaway is no matter who it is, don't do anything for free. You have to value yourself
100%.
and what you provide to a company, a person, an individual, whatever it is. You have to value that. And if they don't value it enough to provide you with said check, services, or something in return, then it's probably not a relationship professionally. It doesn't mean you end your business relationship, personal relationship, professionally. That if it's not beneficial to both parties, it's probably not worth pursuing.
Yeah, it's just learning how to develop a good value proposition, which leads into a great negotiation or a bad one, depending on how you do. During this process, and we'll get into you locking in what you thought to be.
Just drop.
What you thought to be the full coverage for the season. During this time, were you seeking? That's all right. We're being recorded right here. During this time, was there anybody that was like a mentor to you specifically, or you were taking guidance from anyone to kind of like how to do this? It's kind of an unknown secret, obviously, in the fishing world, and people want to keep those secrets. Was there anything like that for you?
No.
Nothing.
And I wish that I knew someone that could kind of talk me through how to approach certain situations in the beginning, at least. You know, Seth and I basically leaned on each other. I had no idea what I was doing. I very much relied on Seth and his knowledge of the fishing world. You know, I said that I knew a lot about fishing because of my dad.
Yep.
Nothing like this because my dad didn't fish professionally.
Right.
But I mean, this was a whole new world, and having to go ask people for money is not an easy thing.
No, it's a weird thing.
It is a weird thing. And I don't know if still to this day, if I did it the right way, if I still do it the right way. You know, because we still look to secure sponsors throughout the year with this upcoming season. And, you know, I want people to understand what it is that Seth does and that, you know, what they give isn't in vain. You know, it supports not just Seth being able to fish, but his family and of course the sponsors do get something out of it.
Sure.
You know, but I don't know if I am able to perfectly get that across to every sponsor, and not everyone is going to understand it unless they have experience in that fishing world, or they just have a lot of money and they don't care.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
Yeah. I think that's a great message for anybody that's in the position you guys are in. Everyone's obviously different, cut from a different cloth, you know, and have different financial backings and stuff like that. But it's a great message to send. You know, we talk a lot to young anglers here about sponsorships, and, you know, just because you qualified for so-and-so or you are affiliated with so-and-so, like, those sponsors just don't come running right. And there's a lot of factors in that, the economy, the position that business is in, what they value, all those things. So let's fast forward a little bit, unless you want to get something.
You're good.
So let's fast forward to you think, because we know, you think you've captured everything that you pretty much need for the 2024 season, which is considered his rookie season on the NPFL, but he's definitely not a rookie at fishing. And he goes off and he fishes that first tournament, right? He did well.
He did.
I don't want to explain all of it, but what was that first tournament experience, that return home? What was that like for the family? How did that
before the return home? What were the stressors while
Leaving.
he was fishing outside of just leaving home and being alone? And
So the first tournament was the end of January last year.
Yep.
We had a baby January 5th.
Oh, that's my birthday.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, happy birthday to your son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just turned 1.
Powerhouse.
So,
Capricorn.
so we had a baby January 5th, and you left.
I think it was a month later, like February.
No, you left the end of January.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like the first week in February, so I might have left the day before or something like that.
Well, he left the end of January.
Okay, 10-4.
Yeah. So, that was, I mean, we knew,
Yeah.
obviously, that he was going to be leaving the end of January. And, thank goodness for my mother. She is retired and she helps so much.
Yep.
Every time he leaves to go out of town on a tournament, NPFL or something else, she's there to help me because I have a lot of kids. And
You don't say.
I know. And now I will say the older ones do help a lot, but not like my mother does. And she has saved me through all of these tournaments where he's been out of town. So January of last year, end of January, when he leaves to go to Alabama, it was not easy, specifically for our now 3-year-old, because she was the baby, and then we just brought a baby home, and then her daddy leaves, and you two know that she is a daddy's girl.
that's a road dog.
Yeah, that is his road dog, and she is obsessed with Seth. Obsessed. And when he's home, he can barely leave the room. So when he left, it was hard because I had to split my attention between her and the newborn. Even though my mom was there to help, she definitely helped a lot with our son, but that was tough. So even though he did amazingly well, and I want him to continue to do that, that first tournament that week was hard.
Yep.
But yeah,
that's a rather unique set of circumstances to have.
that is unique.
I mean, we heard
our
it with
situation.
Destin Demarion too. When his wife had their daughter, he had to fly back because he was already gone for a tournament. She goes into labor. He's trying to find someone for a truck and boat. So it is something that can happen. But then to turn around, 3 weeks after having your newborn, it's not easy. I'm trying to think how to word this. Did you follow along with the tournament, or was there just too much other stuff going on?
No, I absolutely followed along with the tournament. How was
Seth's
glued to
performance
my
with
phone.
putting fish in weight tracker and everything?
The first tournament, he was great at it.
Yeah. Did that continue?
No, absolutely not. And I am, every day he comes off the water, I'm like, are you ever going to put anything in the Way Live tracker?
I don't have time.
I'm right. And so I know Seth and I know his personality, and, I watch the Way Life Tracker and I see all of these guys putting in weights, and I know that Seth could catch a 1 pounder, 2 pounder, 3 pounder, 4, 5, 6, 7. It doesn't matter. He will put it in
The box.
he will put it in the box and keep on going.
That's right.
What if it was a 14? Would you put it in Way Life?
Well, he doesn't catch more than 7 pounders. She just said.
That's true.
He does. It's one. There's one on our wall.
Uh-oh.
know,
I mean, would it
he
go?
does.
Would you put that one in like a great, big, gigantic one?
I'd put it in like a 4.
He would.
Okay,
Sandbagger.
Okay, P. Walt, old Patty Walt, sandbagging.
So you followed along, though.
Oh my gosh, I was glued to my phone. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And even now, knowing that he doesn't put anything in the Way Liver, Way Life Tracker, I still follow along. And every day, I'm like, can you
But
please
there's nothing to
just
follow,
do-
though.
No.
Because he doesn't put it in there.
No.
Brad Fuller, Paul Benson, you hear
So
this.
let me ask, even knowing that he's not going to do it,
I'm like,
is there
there's
still
a-
stress that he's actually at 0? Or
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
way to go, Seth.
So I,
Well, at least he pumped all the breast milk before he left for that first tournament. so.
yeah.
Good night.
Hey, we got to lighten the mood in here.
We went right to it.
Yeah,
Huh?
send it.
So the first tournament, he's in Alabama.
Yep.
And I think probably because it's the first tournament, that is why he is putting stuff in the
Yeah.
He's like,
Way
I
Live
gotta
Tracker.
follow the rules here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the very first meeting,
They threaten you.
with a
I'm
fine.
just kidding.
No, they do.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I was so adamant about doing what I was supposed to do, because in this excuse me, in this first meeting, Brad's like, if you don't help us narrate the story correctly, there will be repercussions in the form of a monetary fine. I'm like, look, I'm broke. I can't pay no fine.
I barely got here.
We
I am
put
not
all
getting
of our
that.
money into the entry
I gotta
fee.
make sure I put my fish in there exact the
Like,
way I
I
caught
didn't
them.
even buy new underwear
Exactly.
to make it here.
Seth don't wear underwear.
That's true. But, okay, so,
Fun fact.
hey, this is good, man. This is all natural. You're following along. You probably got a smile from ear to ear, or you're friggin' so stressed out because you got so much going on. Thank goodness for your mom being
Shout out,
there.
Mom.
Shout out moms. Moms, most moms are rocks, hopefully. Shout out to my mom. She's mean to me, but I still love her. She listens to this too.
She does. You're
Yeah.
going to hear
I'm
about
gonna get
that
stabbed in the head with a
Yep.
fork again.
Yep.
So-
Sorry, Mom.
He gets back. Logan Martin, great tournament. He actually figured out how to catch fish. Super proud of him.
I know. It's about time.
He comes back to Durham.
Yes.
I love this dude. He comes back to Durham. What's the look? Well, how's his demeanor?
Okay, so y'all haven't known Seth for very long.
No, I just met him in 24 at the Bugs Island tournament when I beat him.
Right.
And I just met him at
So
Raleigh
y'all
last
don't know how cocky he is.
Oh,
Oh,
snap.
mute him so he can't defend himself.
I'm so kidding. He is.
No, he's so humble. He's
Very
so
humble.
humble.
He really is. And
Not in a weighing line though. Not humble at all. At Kerr when he talks some smack.
Right.
That's good. That's good
So
sportsmanship.
he is like the perfect balance between humble and confident.
Yeah.
And when he came home, he wasn't any different.
Yeah.
All he wanted was to see his kids.
Straight.
That's
to dad
awesome.
mode.
And I don't know if it's like this for every guy that travels with the NPFL. It's hard for Seth to be away from home. Now, we have a lot of kids, and I am a lot. So it's straight chaos in our house at all times. So for him to miss being home, miss us, miss the chaos is quite strange, but he does. And so when he gets home, he wants to leave fishing at the door and come home and be a husband and a dad. And it's great when I mean, of course, there is a great mood.
Yeah.
Because he has done well, and it's the
Yeah.
first tournament, and we're like, hell yeah, this is why
We're doing
you
this.
did this. Yeah. So I mean, it feels good.
Yeah.
Of course, for him, for me, the kids watched all of the weigh-ins, and they are so proud, and they're just giggling, smiling
daddy's on TV.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they love it so much. But when he gets home, that's great that he did that. But he's a dad and a
Straight
husband
to
when
dad
he-
mode.
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I kind of feel bad for picking on him now.
I don't. I love
No,
him.
I don't either. I just
We
I
wouldn't
felt
do
like
it if
that
we
was a good
didn't
time
love
to
him.
say it.
Yeah,
You gotta
like
yeah.
I said, I met him last year, and I was like, dude, first of all, he's too tall. Secondly, really good dude.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the great thing about the fishing community. If you choose to capture things as an opportunity, because so many people miss opportunities or they don't use it to their advantage.
I also want to inject here. You hear us say a lot about good people in the fishing community. Not everybody in this community is a good person. So don't get this conflated ideology for our young listeners and people that everybody you meet that's here is a good person, because not everybody is. And you're going to have that everywhere. It doesn't
That's
matter
true.
where you go.
Any
There's going to be
place.
good. There's going to be bad. There's going to be people you don't agree
Yeah.
with. So again, a little bit of a sidebar, but I think we build these folks up in our minds because we see them on TV. We see them doing this, that, and the other thing, that we think everybody is what we see when they're behind the camera, and that's not the truth. So don't necessarily let that impact you terribly. So let's take a quick break, and we'll get into some of the struggles mid-season. Are good.
Yeah, so Pete, you make a great point there. Like, not everybody is friendly and stuff like that. But that's the art of doing business in this industry. No, you're good. That's the art of doing business in the industry. You got to assess people, and whether or not they're going to align with what you're looking for, and that's okay. And they're doing the same thing to you. But we talked about, Seth getting back from that Logan Martin tournament, the Alabama tournament, did great. But he wanted to see his kids. Obviously, there was a great attitude associated with that because you cash a check, which you got to cash checks.
Yeah.
Some guys have to cash checks. Most guys.
We're one of those
Yep.
guys.
Most.
For sure.
It's like 1% of 1% that doesn't need a check.
Yeah. Then you move into, let's kind of use the middle part of the season in total, and kind of talk about in that after a couple events that weren't so favorable, and from a check perspective, did that change anything? His attitude, how did you cope with anything like that? Like, what is that like? What is that response like?
Okay. It was tough because I am the one that, now, of course, Seth believes in himself. He wouldn't be fishing with the NPFL if he didn't. But I think he told y'all I have more confidence in him than he has in himself.
Yep.
So
do we.
When things don't go the way that he thinks they're going to go, or, certain things happen, and it's not necessarily that he has a bad tournament or he doesn't fish well. A couple ounces can keep you from cashing a check.
Yep.
There are many factors that are very minuscule that keep you can change whether or not you're in the check line. And unfortunately, throughout the season, some of those things happened, and it is it's tough. I don't want to say that it's added pressure on me, because I am always the first person to find the positive in everything. Everything. It doesn't matter if he had the worst practice, the worst tournament, didn't catch a fish. I mean, absolutely nothing went his way. I will find something that was good. And in some of the tournaments, I think one of the hardest ones was Pickwick.
Okay. That was mid-season, right? Okay.
It was hot as shit.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go, and we changed our plans to go to Florida for the St. John's tournament.
Yep.
And so, and, you know, I told you that Seth misses our chaos. And I have been his number one cheerleader from the beginning. And I think he likes that support. And I think a lot of times when he goes on the road and other wives or families are there and we are not, can not really take a toll, but it's just like, ugh, you know, I wish I had the same thing. It's harder for us because, again, we've got a lot of kids. We got 5 kids now. I homeschool, and, you know, that was another thing going into this. Like, yes, we're going to be able to go with you because our kids aren't in public school. We homeschool. This is going to be great. But again, you know, not everyone thinks about the cost of travel.
Sure.
And it really is hard to go everywhere, especially with also 2 little ones. So anyway, back to Pickwick. That could have been a really good tournament. And that was one of those where a couple things went wrong. And Seth came home not feeling too good about himself or his ability to fish with the rest of the field, which the first tournament proved that to be wrong. He, you know, just didn't have the greatest tournament. So it was hard for me to put on be that really positive role that I always am because of how down he was. But we got through that, and you know, he went, what was the next one after Pickwick?
Saginaw Bay.
Yeah.
Saginaw Bay. And okay, so that was we knew that there could be a lot of different ways that could go. And with that being big water, that's just a whole another animal that,
Sure.
you know, go down to Florida after that, and
Cancel.
it's canceled.
Hurricane, yep.
And Seth did have a really good practice.
Oh, yes, he did.
He did,
Yeah, he did.
have an amazing practice. And I was actually driving to Florida, and he called me and was telling me about a fish that he had just caught during practice. And while I was on the phone with him, he caught another giant.
Yep.
And so,
Andy recorded manatees.
yeah,
That was super
manatees. That was so cool.
I was jealous.
Caught an alligator. That was
Yes.
cool. So yeah, the Florida tournament, St. John's, canceled. Would have probably been good, but that's okay. I'm very thankful that the MPFL, Brad, all of those guys care so much about their anglers that they put their safety first.
Yep.
That is the main thing. They made the right decision with that, and I'm very thankful. We were down there at New Smyrna Beach, so Seth actually got to spend the whole week on the beach with us. So that was fun.
Sitting there talking about that 8-pounder, like, man.
I know.
I'll give you some inside baseball on that tournament though. Like pre-hurricane, we have a lot of friends that fish with you. Everybody was catching fish. Like that.
Yeah,
So it would have been a
so
lot more
Yeah.
competitive, I think, than because I think everybody thought the same thing. Like,
Yep.
man, I caught like 30 pounds today. Like I'm on them, but everything was setting up that a lot of folks were on them. So maybe that was divine intervention.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because I think if you go in with super high confidence and you don't end up with the finish that you think you're going to have, it's probably even more crushing than if you go in like, man, my practice was terrible. I'm probably not going to do anything. And then you end up doing okay.
Well, see, and that's another one of those tournaments. Everyone has a good practice, and then a couple ounces keep you out of the check line.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know.
For me, though, it wasn't necessarily the practice. It was more or less that I felt like finally I could do whatever
you
I
wanna do.
wanted to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
and catch what I thought I needed to catch to do well in the event.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I caught an 8 or I caught a 6.
Which he did back to back. He
Yeah.
sent us pictures.
Yeah,
I
back to
just-
back on the phone with me.
Felt that I was like, man, I finally feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, like I felt comfortable doing what I was doing, and it just felt good.
Yeah.
You know? 'Cause I'm not saying I was going to win the tournament by any means.
Oh, and I'm not saying you wouldn't have had a great finish.
Correct.
But not everybody knew how good everybody was catching.
Look, there were some guys that were blasting them. Like there were some talks of dudes catching plus 30 multiple days. So, and it was one of those things my little girl said, or it wasn't my little girl, it was a buddy of mine said, dude, you could have been on them. And that hurricane rolls through and then they're gone.
They're gone.
So like you said, divine intervention. It worked out the way it was supposed to. We got to Murray and I'll let her take it from there.
Well-
You're talking about when Lucy
Yeah.
was talking about when you won a tournament, but there were only 58 boats.
No, it was a different story.
Talking smack.
Well,
yeah, you
well,
won, but there was only 58
there
votes.
was-
So
Just so you know, for the audience, obviously we know this. There was something There was something that had happened, and you talked about it before the NPFL season even started. With sponsors, there was something that happened mid-season, maybe 3/4 of the way. There's 6 tournaments a year, 7 if you include the championship, right? Am I right on that?
Yeah.
Something happened, right? And I kind of want to get you. I want you to provide the audience's perspective of how that changed your guys's.
and Seth has talked about this in another episode.
He
So it's
did.
not. We haven't
not
said
new.
who, where, what, but
Right.
Right.
Yep.
that some money that was expected never came.
Yes. So when we, with one of our sponsors, or I'll say ours because we are
Yep.
definitely
You're a
in
team.
it.
Your team.
Yeah,
Your
we're a
team.
Your
team.
team.
One of our sponsors wrote us a check and said mid-year or a few months from now they'll give us another check.
The rest.
Yeah. And that didn't happen. And we were scrambling. I mean, like kind of freaking out. And to the point where I don't know if it was before Florida or
Yeah, it was after Pickwick.
okay, or was it before Saginaw?
Yes.
Yes.
Before Saginaw, he was like, I'm gonna have to call Brad and tell him I'm out because we didn't have what we expected. And I've said earlier, I don't think everybody takes into account all of the money that goes into it. It's not just the entry fees, which the entry fees are a lot, but the NPFL payouts are great. It's a third of the field gets paid, and the paychecks are more than the entry fees, even the smallest ones. So that's great, but the travel is now. I'm so thankful for the guys that Seth travels with.
The D team.
The D team. I have
Our fans know them well. At this point.
I have not had the pleasure of meeting Zach yet, but I've met.
It's a pleasure.
I've met Cole, and
It's his pleasure.
I've met Josh.
Dad Josh.
Josh actually stayed with us one night at the beach in Florida. After he was a great time.
How many Miller Lights did you drink?
Probably more than Seth.
Like 60?
Probably more than Seth. Oh wow.
Love you, Josh.
No, he was. He's great, and Cole is great, and I know that Zach is great too. I just haven't met him, but I'm so thankful for those guys, because without guys to travel with, you are paying so much. So much, because
Hotels, Airbnbs.
when you have to find an Airbnb that has enough room for your boat. So, they're not cheap, and the economy sucks. So,
let's be honest, they also know when there's a big tournament coming, and you can look and see those prices change.
yeah, and a lot of the places around will book up really quick, because
Everyone's trying to get there.
There are 100+ guys that are coming to stay around that lake or wherever they're fishing, and sometimes it's not easy to find a place, and they have to go with something more expensive. But regardless, they are able to split it, and I'm so thankful for that. And also thankful that, a lot of these guys like to hunt, and they'll bring deer meat for them to cook and eat while they're on the road, but they still have to pay a lot for gas. Oh my
Tackle.
gosh, gas in the truck.
Seth showers more than anyone we know, so he's probably paying a lot for shampoo and zest.
Soap. Yeah.
We're working on.
He uses the highfalutin stuff, so he's a Dove guy.
Oh wow!
Hey, I use Dove too.
And do that.
Oh, see, there you go.
Do you use the blue one?
Sensitive skin.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
No, I use the purple one.
The purple one, the lavender one.
I go with the rich OG, the blue.
Explains a lot.
Yeah. No, this is making. We're working on Seth wearing deodorant. If your bill's going to go up once he starts doing that, but.
So yeah, you're thankful for all of those additional costs that are basically taken care of by a group of guys.
Right.
Reduces it significantly.
Right. And also when they fish tournaments near Michigan, and they
you can keep
fill 2 grocery carts full of groceries, and it only costs $200 between 4 guys. I mean, that was probably the cheapest tournament that they fished. Saginaw. Yeah.
I mean, a gallon of milk was $2.
That's Michigan for you.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
We couldn't believe it. They were selling 18 packs of Miller Lite for $10.
That's what well, they didn't have to drink Busch at that tournament. We got to drink Miller Lite.
They bought a few of those.
Yeah. Well, there's a cost you can cut right there.
Right.
But you shouldn't.
And I'm not going to.
No.
And I know you won't. You'll knock the sides off a bass before you stop buying them.
Don't put them in the release boat. I'm taking them home.
You can feed my family of 17 for 365 days with all those bass. So, but yeah, so something happened. You didn't get the money.
Yeah.
Right. You're in panic mode.
Yeah.
Were you able to stay, because you're the rock?
Yeah.
You're the positive one. You hunt the good stuff, right? Great book. Do you find yourself being positive in that situation?
Yes.
Really?
I don't know how. I think I panic internally because he panics externally a lot of times. Not all the time. He keeps a lot of stress to himself.
Yeah.
But when things like that come up, yes, it will come out.
Like wear his emotions on his sleeve type thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, get it.
And was like, it will happen. You are fishing. You are here for a reason.
That's right.
This happened, just the invite, us getting everything in the beginning going, that all happened for a reason. You are here because you're supposed to be. We will get through the rest of the season because this is where you're supposed to be.
Yep.
And we did. It was a lot of people having faith in him, and we're very, very thankful for all of the people that have rallied around him and helped us through the last season. He had a great start and an awesome finish.
A damn good finish.
Yeah. And Trey, you got to
No,
see that firsthand.
Yeah.
So, it ended up all working out. And yeah, if I'm not positive throughout the hard times, I think it might fall apart at times.
Take notes, bro. You know I'm fucking with you.
Look, you're not telling me anything I don't.
I gotta beat that.
Nah, beep it. Whatever. You're good.
Trey.
You're good. You know
Can't
what?
put it
Just
on
don't
iPhone.
listen
You
to
can't
it.
put it on iTunes, right?
Yeah, you can put it on iTunes. It's fine.
Yeah, you're not telling me anything I don't already.
I think you're allowed one.
The problem is for whatever reason, my wife is able to look at something and tell you that no matter how bad it is, something's going to work out for the positive, right? I'm just a realist, and I look at factual evidence and tell you there's no way in hell it's going to work.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, she sprinkles a little magic dust on it, and then there it goes.
Here's another lesson. Your wife's always going to be.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Well,
So why even question it
You're
at
right.
this point?
Well,
You just want to argue.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, there's no way that this is going
But
to work.
how do you know if you're arguing or not? Because you're always yelling.
I'm not yelling right now, am I?
good grief.
We had to turn your thing down further than I've ever seen it. But
I was once told
It's actually off.
I had a voice that projected well.
it projects extremely well.
You do have other professional opportunities. If fishing were to never work out, I'd love to see you.
They've always told me I had a
commentating.
face for radio.
A face for radio. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, I'd pay to
I
not,
love it.
I'd pay to not see that face.
You know, we don't
I.e., that's why I'm here.
get into a lot of politics and religion, just because it doesn't really come up. How much did faith play a role?
It was the biggest role in helping us get through this season. I'm not going to say towards the end of the season, the whole season. I told Seth that
Don't pay attention to these this pack of apes over here. They're looking up
I'm
like
pulling up a picture of Seth's lineage
oh my gosh,
is he the vanilla gorilla?
right here.
please
This
show
is
me.
like his great dad. I just thought about this for some reason.
Y'all can't see
What
this
in the
right now.
world?
I'll send it to Barry and have him put it in the video.
Yeah, so you might see
Oh, the internet might just nope.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not even the good one.
The wrong one.
I feel like it's still
Hold
pretty
on.
appropriate.
No, this is a better one. This is the one.
Oh, is that me standing next to Seth?
That's you and Seth. Yeah.
You know,
Look, he's got the same beard.
yeah. Same downtrodden face.
Seth, for anybody that isn't gonna watch, just Google Gigantopithecus.
Yeah.
Oh
All right.
my gosh.
So faith played a role.
Yes.
For you and your family.
Huge role. And I kept reminding him that God is not going to put him in a situation that he's not supposed to be in. Situation that he can't handle. Like if he had a rough practice, that is either going to it's going to teach him something
It's a test.
one way or the other.
Yep.
And
God will never give you more than you can handle. It might
Right.
feel like it, but he wouldn't lay it on you if you couldn't handle it.
Right. And it might be more than one of us could handle, but together it's something that we will always get through. And I think towards the end, I started leaving him with certain Bible verses when he would leave to go out of town, and would send him certain sermons from church that I would want him to watch and listen to. And all of these things I always told him and reminded him. But faith played a huge role in all of this. You have to have faith that no matter what, no matter how hard it is, God is going to provide for you, whether it's through fishing. It might not be through fishing at all. But one way or the other, God is going to provide for you and your family as long as you are faithful to him.
It'll show through on in fishing when it's meant to. Like Trey and I talked about it a lot, and like 100% he carried us through. I mean, it's not anything like the NPFL, but our season with fishermen this year, like there are so many things that happen that there's only one. Like there's only one. We never lost a fish that gave us positive. It was a positive impact to our back. Never lost fish. We never had a struggle, for lack of a better term. One tournament we struggled a little bit to catch a fifth fish. We finally did. It was enough to still cash a check, but like we never lost a fish. We never faced the adversity that some people face, and I don't know why. I don't know what we did
We
to
may
deserve
face it
that.
this year.
I hope we. And Trey and I
We hope we do.
Trey and I both talked. If you go listen to
Yeah.
our episodes, we both said like we want that kick in the face
It's coming.
because we need to react to that.
It's coming.
We need
And
to react to the contact.
And
It's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's not anything you did wrong.
No.
It's just the way it goes, man.
It's the timing. It's God's timing. It's all part of a plan.
Yes.
And we're not going to understand it. So you struggled towards mid-season financially. You struggled in fishing. Maybe missing
think it
home
goes
some,
hand in
maybe
hand.
some of the financial stress.
It goes hand in hand.
It's
man.
all tests, though,
Yeah.
right? Like, how do you pull through this? You kept your head up. You did what you had to do to secure the money. You reached out to everybody you knew, and those people you knew and trusted and believed in you to what you said, Kristina, pulled together, and you were able to fish the last couple events when you thought you were going to have to pull out. And I know we had conversations with you, and you were 100% with us, like, I'm done. This is it. This is the last one I'm fishing. We're like, dude, you're going to find. Like, it's going to come through.
Yeah.
And now, I sort of just want to end there because that was really good. But we need to talk about, 2025's coming. You've committed. Your name, I believe, is on there for. I know there's some things still in the works, but the plan is for you to be there.
Yep.
How do you feel, Kristina, going into his second year, facing all the adversity and everything that slapped you in the face through year one with sponsor dollars, and obviously there's huge lessons learned there, and we talked about it with him, like, get it in writing and signed somewhere.
Yes.
Don't take
that is the biggest mistake that
I
we
could have
made.
smacked him for that.
Yeah. Biggest mistake that
But I
we
won't.
made
He's a giant.
in the
Chiganopithecus.
in the in the first season, because we didn't know what we were doing.
Yep.
It was the first time we had ever done anything like this. So this year going in, we have a different plan, and there are things in the works. So it is stressful right now because nothing is solid, and it's already January.
Yep.
But I am very adamant on things happening because this year I'm not going to say that it's going to be Seth's year or it's not going to be, but the schedule has the potential to be really good for Seth.
Yeah.
I think just about everyone knows how Seth likes to fish.
Yeah.
There were some rule changes that help.
Yes, there
The way
were
Seth likes to
some
fish.
rule changes, and that is, what was removed is not the way that Seth
likes to
fished.
fish,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
But he can do it.
He's
though.
very
He
good at it, and you
can.
need to keep reminding him of that because
He
he talks
can.
about it, but he's good.
didn't you
he's good
catch some fish like that on Murray?
Yeah.
He sure did. It was
did.
painful to watch it.
It was painful to do it.
It was painful to listen to him complain about it,
Yeah,
but he did it, and he's good at it.
yeah.
I had to edit out
And-
like 3 minutes of Josh Hooks ranting about
Yeah.
that too, by the way, in
Yeah,
the
we-
D-Team
yeah.
episode.
Sometimes we have to do things that we don't like to do
Absolutely.
Right,
to get the job done.
Right.
Right. No failure. Failure's not an option.
right.
Get comfortable at being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Gotta get
And you guys are absolutely an epitome of that statement. You got really comfortable, and I wouldn't say comfortable, but you had to figure out a way to be comfortable in probably one of the most uncomfortable situations, because you said earlier,
Livelihood, man.
I don't know if it's right or wrong. I don't believe in that. Outside of certain things, for the most part, there's better and worse. And you don't know what those are going to be.
Right.
That's like saying I made a mistake, but you don't know you're going to make a mistake till you make a choice.
right.
And for y'all, it was literally survival. Like
For sure.
the difference
100%.
between
Yeah.
groceries and eating
And-
ketchup sandwiches.
Yep.
And believe in what you want to believe in, right? Whatever. Man, meeting you guys, we just met tonight,
Yeah.
right? Meeting Seth at that very first tournament that he fished with us, Fishers of Men. I think that happened for a reason. I truly do,
Okay.
right? I don't care what anybody believes in. It's what I believe in, right?
There was an instant connection to Seth.
yeah, 100%.
Standing in that weigh-in line, talking the smack that gets talked in the
Yeah,
weigh-in line.
I like
and
that.
to be funny,
I love that.
I mean, ironically, because we have to reaffirm Seth, much like you do, because we know how good he is. We were stressing out because we had a pretty good bag, and we were like, "Oh, we're like this is nothing." And Seth's like, you're third."
Yeah.
Like he knew, and he kept not even knowing us, positively reinforcing, the tournament that we had, saying we were in good shape. Like, and that's not something that anybody's going to do. So there was that instant connection
Yeah,
to Seth.
100%. Yep.
And that's just, and I feel it with Christine. Like, I feel like I'm scared to get my wife and Christina together because Seth and I are screwed, because that's probably like a power friendship.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like the world's
But
aligning.
the funny thing is on the way down here,
Your wife too.
my wife.
She's scary.
No,
my
not at
wife.
all.
No.
We were just
She
talking
is
about.
scary. Brandy's very scary.
I mean, my wife,
Love you, Brandy.
she takes on a lot of responsibility, right?
Yeah.
So, because of that, she has a very minute circle of friends, and she
Oh,
wants
yeah.
to meet people, right? So we were talking about other anglers' wives. Well, there you go, Pete.
Yeah, let's
Prime
do it.
example.
Dinner, man.
Chelsea, for sure.
Absolutely.
So
I would love to meet Chelsea.
You guys would definitely be friends.
my wife is a lot like what you endured
Yeah.
this year. She's endured it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Bless her.
With,
One thing all our wives have in common is that, and mine not as much as Trey's.
but still, the
is the
absence.
travel, the absence,
Right.
being on the road, nights in
it-
hotels in other
Yeah.
states, and
You don't know how you learn. Everybody does, but you learn so much about yourself when all you have is yourself. Even though you're still married, obviously you're on the road, whatever.
Yeah.
But you learn a lot about yourself. I think a lot of people don't understand that because they've never been put in that position. That's okay. And that's kind of where I wanted to go with this. From all the scar tissue that you've endured throughout the fishing time, but specifically the NPFL and all those struggles, if you were to look at a brand new angler's spouse, we'll say, like, what would your message be or lesson learned that you would want to convey to them to maybe help, I don't know, build that a little bit of comfort in that most uncomfortable situation?
before you answer that,
Okay.
then you can answer this in one word. Would you change the way anything happened this year?
No.
Okay, and then what is that advice to that new angler's wife or husband or girlfriend, whatever, that's supporting that person?
I think the biggest thing that I can offer to a girlfriend, a wife,
A husband.
yeah, because we've got Stephanie that fishes the MPFL. The biggest thing that I can offer is to be overly supportive, because if you aren't, then everything is just going to fall apart. Then you're going to be doing things on your own and they're going to be doing things on their own. You have to be a team. Mm-hmm. You have to support that dream. And both of you make sacrifices. Mm-hmm. Now, when they are gone, you take on a lot, but it's never going to work when they are gone if you don't show them the utmost support that you can.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, I was all in, and he was just fishing locally. Mm-hmm. And even with that being hard because he was gone all the time, and that was before we had 2 little ones, and every now and then I would be able to go practice with him, and we don't get to do that quite as much anymore, but I still can't picture him doing anything else. Yep. And I know how much fishing makes him happy. So I want him to be doing that. I know people say, happy wife, happy life, but I am happy when he is happy.
Yeah.
And if he is doing what he wants to do to provide for his family, and I am able to stay home and give our kids the education that we believe that they deserve, I'm going to do whatever I can to support him. And that is my biggest piece of advice to anyone that has a husband or boyfriend or wife or girlfriend going in to fish something like this. Just be there for them 150%.
At least 160%.
I think we ask as anglers, if you fish tournaments, whether it's just a regional, local, national, we ask so much of our spouses and ask them to sacrifice everything for us to chase our dreams.
Sometimes their dreams.
And their dreams. And, as you sat there and talk, I just think about how unfair it is. How I feel it's unfair for me to have all these things I want to do. And my wife's just always kind of been there. And I've had that conversation. Yeah, this is what I want, but I don't want it if you don't want it. And to have the support where they just want you to have what you want and still be able to support them. And I'm sure, I don't even know where I'm going with this. It's just, I know Chelsea's the same. My wife's the same. And hearing it from another wife, you kind of look internally and it's like, my wife has moved states away from her family, something she never did. Yeah. All so I could chase. Well, this is part of the dream, doing this and fishing, and there was never a question. And you're kind of the same. There's never a question if Seth is happy and doing what he's good at and wants to do to provide. You're just there in support, and you've sacrificed dreams, no doubt. There's things you've wanted to do. You can tell us no, but I know it's not true. That you haven't done, and you may never get to do. But it's more important to you. Man, go ahead.
Yeah. So,
that's a tough one.
Everybody's dreams can change, right? And I think what your message to the greater audience here is, don't allow those dreams to turn into a nightmare. right? And the way you do that is by providing that support. We have this saying like false motivation is better than no motivation. You can be overly supportive or annoyingly supportive, but at the end of the day, your spouse believes your spouse needs you. Both of you need each other. And it's important to get that perspective because when you hear, Bassmaster or whatever, right? Whatever career, it's like, this is your dream. Or is it our dream?
It's our dream.
Right.
Right.
And that's only done through good conversation, communication, compromise, sacrifice, things like that.
I can promise you there's not a woman in the world that has said, I want to marry a touring professional angler. Like that, they want to marry a doctor, a lawyer, a prince,
Most don't
a
even
king.
know. Yeah, they're like, wait a minute, my husband's going to go throw a worm out there and drink beer all day.
Yeah.
People don't know.
I know
what
I know,
goes into
I know.
it
And
at all.
Yeah, and you did a really good job at explaining the amount of preparation, the finances that go in it, the mental, emotional, spiritual support that goes behind that, and like it's commendable.
And to
Like,
wives,
you should get a freaking award.
Yeah.
And my wife has received them from the Army before. Like, hey, thank you for allowing your spouse to re-enlist.
And wives, girlfriends, husbands that are listening, I know you feel like you're the only one making sacrifices, but remember that angler is sacrificing time away from family, friends, home.
Exactly.
And yeah, it might seem selfish, but if this is truly what somebody wants to do for a living, then there's sacrifices that have to be made. Trey has made sacrifices for 20 years because it's what he wanted to do. Dreams have changed now. He's older. He's been in for a long time. He's ready for a different, part of his life, the next chapter in the book, for lack of a better term. And that may happen for Seth at some point where he's like, okay, I'm ready to go mow grass at a golf course or whatever that is, you know?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, that's fine. I'm just throwing something out there.
First of all,
100%.
But
he can't fit on his return.
True. When you start to get frustrated with your husband, wife, girlfriend, sister, brother, whoever it is that's fishing, remember they're making that and we don't want to do it. Like I didn't want to be away from home, and I had a practice wife, and a big part of that not working out. Well, I mean there were multiple reasons, and I'm not going to say one on the air, but I was gone all the time. Like that's a hard thing, and not everybody can do that. But I also don't. Like, I know that you recognize the sacrifice because you see when he comes home, the first thing he wants to do is not say, oh, look what I did. He wants to run and hug his kids and play in the yard and throw the ball or whatever it is that you do with your kids for fun. Trey wants to come home and play Mario Kart or volleyball with Jenna or whatever it is. I beat your son 3 in a row.
I know.
Finally. It's
savage.
An entire day. But
It humbled him, by the way.
Did it?
Little
Did he come home and practice?
little sucker.
No, but
Humble pie.
I think one of the messages I took away is you recognize the sacrifices that Seth made, and I think where couples start to kind of break down, and I'm not a licensed psychiatrist or anything, but when you start to feel like you're the only one making a sacrifice, because you don't recognize the sacrifices that the other person is making. I'm sure you would have rather been home your entire kid's childhood, but that wasn't what was meant to be.
I almost there's an opposite end of that. It's a double-edged sword, because if you are doing well and you're constantly away and you don't feel like the support of your family matters, then you become really self-absorbed and selfish, and it almost becomes like a task to be home. And I face that. And so that's where you have to have some deep conversations with yourself and say, hold on a minute, I'm becoming a narcissistic piece of crap here. How do I need to change myself, right? And that's again, it's almost like entering into a sponsorship deal. You're going back to your spouse and you're creating value proposition to the relationship and stuff like that. So those are important things. And I want to say this. I think this is important to say, and this is coming from this is my direct engagement or my direct conversations with Seth is, it's terminology here. There's never once been one time that he's ever said anything about getting a trophy, anything about being on TV, anything about winning, anything. It's always like, I need to take care of my family, right?
Yep.
I need to do that, right? And you know, I'm not going to blow smoke here. Like that's exactly the conversation. I think that's why the value was created so much with all of us is like when you see somebody that emulates the same exact values that you have, you're like, I believe in that person, right? And that's it's taken me a long time to change and be like that. But your message is powerful to the greater audience, and for those who are listening and watching, like, take those things into consideration. Not all of us value the same things. So, yeah. So, anybody got anything else real quick?
I just want to say this one thing. People don't realize what my wife has gone through. She can use her words to try to help describe that. But most people really don't know unless you're obviously in the industry and the business. But one thing I want people to realize is that I do this obviously for myself. This is what I want to do, but my success is predicated on how my family feels, right? I don't want to win for me. I don't want to hold that trophy. I don't want to make that money for me.
Yep.
I want to make that money for all the sacrifices that my wife and my kids have made.
Yep.
It's saying thank you.
Yep.
Right. I don't need to have the self-satisfaction that I won. That's not, I mean, yes, that's part of it, but that's not for me.
Right.
I want to be able to hand that check to my wife and say, babe, there's our house.
Yep.
There's our kids' college.
Yep.
Go buy you a car, whatever it may be. That's why I do this. I mean, yeah, I want to win and I want to do well in this and I want to, help promote my sponsors. But the biggest goal is that the sacrifices that my wife and my kids have made, that's my saying thank you.
Yep.
Here it is, girls.
Yep.
Go get you something nice. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what people don't realize is that, yeah, I want to win and I want to be the best there is, but I also want to make sure that my family understands how much I appreciate them. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing.
It's important for any family to hopefully share that with each other. I'm sure he shared that with you before. So I want to end on a couple other things though. One, I'm going to lighten the mood here. If Seth was to walk out to any song as his theme music, come on, let's be brutal.
Oh my gosh.
And honest. Because I'm thinking like, he's from Ohio. Maybe he's got some Aaron Lewis playing. Or, I'm thinking like maybe Insane Clown Posse. Like he's a juggalo.
Not
I see him
Insane
coming
Clown
out
Posse.
to like Lady in Red.
Oh, okay. Or It's Raining Men. I don't know.
It's Raining Men would be another good
So
one.
what if you were to pick one song? What would your angler walk out to?
Okay, can I say a couple?
All right. So yeah. Say
Okay.
this is your show.
Oh no, just send it.
Oh yeah.
We'll mute him.
So my dad used to be in a band,
Okay.
and he used to sing. And one of the songs that immediately, like, I have never thought about this ever, and I'm a music person. Like, Seth is not.
Okay.
I love music. It resonates with me in a way that nothing else can. The very first song that came to mind was 60 Minute Man.
That sounds like that was that really good night you guys had on your first date.
Oh man, am I getting some fuel here, boys?
Okay.
Okay, but
You know that once you leave here, I have to deal with these idiots.
Well, you guys are driving at the same time. So.
No, I'm talking about you two.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome.
Once she's gone from this picture, you and I talk all the time.
Yeah.
We see each other at tournaments.
Well,
you guys are going to be.
You don't call Pete all the
Oh,
time.
just wait till you weigh in at the next Fisher's Men tournament. What's going to be playing?
please,
Yeah.
Pete. Oh my
All
God.
right, we got you. 60
You got
Minute
it.
Man.
60
Go ahead,
Minute
keep
Man.
going.
I gotta think. It's definitely not a Kids Bop version. Maybe the Dominoes.
Oh, yeah.
It is the Dominoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just
Oh yeah. This is it.
get it, Seth. Oh, we're definitely
know
getting
what
it.
this is.
You never heard this?
This is 50.
Yes, he has.
What is
He's
this? 40,
he's
50s
he's heard
music,
my
right?
he's heard my dad sing it.
Are we gonna get?
Because it's really
Oh, we're
low.
definitely getting.
We're definitely gonna get
copyright.
copyright.
When the guy comes in, he's got a really low voice,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
my dad can either. It's really weird. My dad can either sing tenor or he can sing bass, and he sang bass in that song because the guy sings really, really low. So that was the first song.
60-minute man.
Yeah. Loud Thunder, Heavy Rain. What is that song called?
Loud Thunder, Heavy
Loud
Rain.
Thunder, Heavy
Cody
Rain.
Jinks.
Cody Jinks.
It's a good one.
And
Awesome song.
yeah, that's
So he does like music. It's at least one song.
at least one
One
song
Okay.
he likes. Oh gosh, there are so many that I have sent to him that are probably not appropriate.
Dang.
Appropriate.
We can talk about them offline if that's better.
That's fine.
I just need fuel. That's all.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
We're getting dirt here.
yeah.
Okay.
That's literally.
What's one that you would think what you would want?
Yeah, if you had to pick one song, what would it be?
Thunderstruck.
Da-da.
I grew up. My parents are older, so I grew up as a kid listening to the oldie station.
Yeah.
And one song.
60-minute man.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's extreme oldie station.
One song that I really loved as a kid was Jimmy Dean, Big Bad John.
Okay.
That's a good one.
That was the other song that I
That's
had
a
in my
good one.
mind.
That's
So
a
you
good
guys
one.
are finishing each other's.
Literally,
Sandwiches.
that was the
And the
other.
funny thing about it is my mom's from West Virginia, so it resonated because of the coal miners and
Yep.
whatnot.
Yeah.
So Big Bad John probably.
I can't believe I didn't say that. I'm mad at myself now.
You did
Nah,
say.
you did. Telepathically.
Yeah, I'd say that one probably. I really resonated with that one, and I'll tell you what, another one too was Travis Trent sang, and it gives me chills thinking about it. And I don't know the name of it. My wife will
Just
probably
sing
know.
it. Just go ahead.
Yeah, sing it, babe.
No,
Let's hear it.
it's about the boy that was a singer, and he was told as a kid he wasn't going to do it, and then one day he's something about Bobby said, "I'm going to be somebody someday."
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be
Yep.
somebody.
That's
Yeah.
that song right there. Those two songs probably because I feel like I've worked my butt off to get to the position, and I'm not anybody. Trust me, I will say that till the day I die. I am not anybody, but I want to. One day, I want my kids or my wife or my buddies to say, "Man, I knew him."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Those two songs,
Or
probably.
Toby Keith. He likes Toby Keith. How do you like me now?
Yeah, Toby
I could
Keith.
see him walking out
Hey,
to like swap things.
Hey,
It kinda looks like a
I'm just gonna
Sasquatch.
say, rest in peace, Toby Keith. I had the pleasure of, we'll just call it hanging out with him.
Yeah. I got
Because
to
it
hang
definitely
out.
was that.
I got to
And,
hang out with my cast when he bought
Oh yeah,
Lucky Strike.
Lucky Strike.
yeah. He came to
That's
Afghanistan in 2008-9, and I got an ace of or a blackjack. Sorry, because I was in blackjack unit. I got a blackjack signed by him, and he was an absolute pleasure to hang out with. So good songs.
I got to tell this. I got absolutely obliterated in a bar in Burgettstown, Pennsylvania with Toby Keith and his band.
I'm not gonna incriminate myself here.
I will, because
You're good.
I was underage. He's gone now. I'm pretty sure statute of limitations
Yeah.
is gone. But there was a bar, I'll name it Rat Pack, and it was by where all the concerts were held, and we went in there because we were like 19 and couldn't drink anywhere else, and they didn't ID anybody. They didn't care. And Toby Keith and his band and people we travel with had a concert. They rolled in there, and he threw a card down and said, "You're either staying and drinking with us all night, or you can go home now, but the door's getting locked." And we partied with that dude all
buddy.
night long, and I don't remember anything.
Yeah, good songs. All right, here's my last question.
This won't be his last one.
Probably not.
That's okay.
If there was any other name that Seth was not Seth, what would that name be?
I was thinking about that recently.
Most women do.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Because no, I saw. Okay, so this is weird. I saw this.
Sorry.
Can we all pick a name? Because I have one.
I got
I
one.
saw this trend on TikTok.
I don't
that,
care about TikTok.
No,
Hold
I
on.
look
Mute
at you
him.
and wish you were a Tina.
I didn't say
Samantha.
that.
Mute him.
No offense to any Tinas out there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Karen.
My cousin calls me Tina.
I mean, Kristina, you could shorten that to Tina.
It's
No,
Christina.
I always hated that. I
Come to
always,
my
I'm
house.
like,
I
and
know,
get my
but-
wife's name right.
In another life, you could have liked it. So it's not
and-
outside of the realm of possibility.
Sorry, folks. We are not talking fishing right now. We're not talking lessons.
Deal with
We're
it.
having
It's
a
our
good
show.
time.
My cousin Alex is the only one that's allowed to call me Tina. So there was a trend on TikTok that I saw, and people would post a picture of their husbands and say, "What do you think his name would be?" Because a lot of people don't think that their husbands look like their name. And
I
maybe
know.
I don't, because I don't call him Seth. I call him Babe, Honey, whatever comes out of my mouth. But it's never Seth.
Asshole.
Yes, unless you're like probably ticked.
Or if you're
Yeah,
Pete
or he
Nicholson,
won't
sure.
answer me. I'm
I got an
finally
even better
like
one.
Seth,
Yeah.
Nathan.
Ooh,
Oh, we got the middle name now.
she was
two middle names.
TikToked off.
You got
Two
two.
middle
You're a double
names.
middle namer.
Where all of us
Our
are.
entire family, our entire
Really?
family,
Me?
all our kids. Yep.
Okay.
All of the kids.
All right.
It's divine intervention.
So what's
It
the
is.
name? What's the name?
Yeah, what's
I
the
don't
name?
know.
You have to.
I really don't. I don't know.
What's your name for Seth?
Maybe Nathan, because it's his middle name. Maybe.
Maximus Decimus Meridius.
It's definitely not that. It's definitely Jeb. You look like a Jeb.
Jeb.
Just a strong, tall. He's a lumberjack. You know, I'm not sure what he wears when he lumberjacks. I never asked
If it's
him.
not a
No
flannel,
shirt.
it's not a real. Ooh.
No shirt.
no shirt. So
Wielding
Jeb,
the axe.
Jeb,
no shirt.
Jeb's
no shirt.
This sounds
Jeb's
like a
just
dream.
hanging out, cutting
Mind you.
wood. You know, complaining about the cold. And Uncle
Is
Jeb. comes-
Jeb short for Jebediah?
Absolutely.
I don't know. I feel like he's that kind of guy that just they never cared enough to give him like a full name, you know.
He was just Jeb.
So like, you know, and
It's just
maybe
Jeb.
maybe I'm projecting here because my name's Trey. It's not short for anything.
You're
it's
not
just
the third.
Thor. I'm
We'll
not
tell
the
you.
third.
We'll tell you who Trey named.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
fine.
It's Savage,
is.
but still, you know, Jeb. You just Jeb me.
Yeah,
you know,
it's fair.
just
I don't know.
He
I like
wears
Jeb.
he wears a vest all the time.
I like the vest,
It's like
though.
I know I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like I won't go full coat because like I'm Jeb and I got radio face.
And that's
okay?
why he's Jeb,
So-
because the full coat would be like having
Hey,
a sleeve, so you got to shorten it up.
Remember,
Like-
though, that he's the hottest guy I ever met.
50% of the time, according to his vest, it works every time.
Exactly.
No sleeves
Harry.
attached. So
He looks like a. I would go with Harry.
Harry.
Yeah. You ever see Harry and the Hendersons?
Absolutely not.
100,000,000%
Pete.
Harry. I could see him running through like the streets, looking at TVs,
Yeah.
squalling like a swampus cat,
Like when he gets in
eating
the
pizza
station-
out of a dumpster, just a train wreck.
Yeah, gets in the back of a station wagon. and has to-
Colander on his head.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think people just like to pick on you, but
I just want your reaction. Have you? I got to show you.
So
Seth's
I'm
contact
going to
picture.
tell you right now, if you ever get in a fight with a bear, you want Jeb with the bear.
Here's what comes up when Seth calls me.
oh my gosh, I know.
Harry.
Look,
If you see that picture,
So-
it's Harry.
so I think
Jeb's like it's
The
past
next
my
time
bedtime.
Seth is on, that is definitely going in our,
He-
our
okay.
title picture, that photo right there.
so. When the next time, I don't know, your name is 1100,
1100.
Hey, easy.
1100.
Easy.
but I
can't
think
come out
they're
right
gonna
now?
have to start calling you Jeb.
I like
because,
Jeb.
I like that, but look, I think the D team is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
I think Cole is a genius.
Yes.
He is.
For coming up with the stuff that he does. I have met Cole. He's so funny.
He is.
And he's a good dude.
yeah.
Good dude.
And I met his wife. Bless her. She.
I can only imagine.
Right.
She's got to
and
be an
she's awesome too.
Who, Allie?
angel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to be a
She-
saint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
To deal with that?
absolutely.
No harm.
And
No offense, Cole, but kind of a lot to
But-
handle. No.
I think that they are absolutely hilarious, and every time I can't wait to see what
Comes out.
comes out. The next, every tournament, I'm like, what are they going to do next? The first time Seth sent me a picture before they made a video of what he looked like,
When he was
I was
1100?
like, what?
Did
Is
I
that?
marry?
What are you doing? What is on your head?
Yeah.
What is on your teeth? What?
I don't know if I've
What are you
ever
doing?
laughed harder than I did at the squirrel video.
Oh my gosh.
First of all, we got inside baseball on that, and I cried when Cole told us what was coming. And then when I actually saw the video,
The bush peach is
I mean, it
just
was
a thing for them, and
It's
it made it
it's
a
perfect.
million times better that he pulled that out of a bush peach box.
And then to have Watts in there in a dress. Like,
Yes.
What
A
more did you
muumuu?
ask for?
a moo.
Just wait for 2025, boys.
Boys, it's about to get
Yeah.
live.
Can't wait.
Last question I got. Last question.
you
I
it was
promise.
live.
We're going to close this out after I hand it over to Pete. What is something that just super annoys you about Seth? Like, does he crunch his chips too loud? Does he smack his lips? Does he not fold the laundry? Like, there's got to be.
Showers too much.
Does he talk? Does he yell at you?
He's always yelling.
Like, not yell at you meanly. Oh my gosh.
Like, whose pants does he even have on?
I think it's Uncle Jeb's
was
pants.
Jeb's
Jeb's
Yeah,
pants.
Uncle Jeb's.
I think you are Jeb.
Is there something that you're just like, can you just stop doing that? Eat his boogers.
No.
I am not a bugger eater.
And you know what? If there's nothing, you don't have to answer it. I just think it's an interesting.
I'm
color.
sure there's something, and I will come up with it.
Yeah. You know, we're just trying to make sure you're not overly positive here.
Yes, I am very positive.
Does he
but
leave his beard trimmings in the sink?
100%.
Okay,
and
there you go.
And I bought him a thing that you suction to the mirror.
Yeah.
So and
he
and
never
you
used
like wrap it around your neck, so everything falls into the apron.
Wow,
Okay.
Seth.
He never uses it.
Never does it.
Can't even.
Great Christmas gift.
And then
might as well
and
return it.
then when and then
Thanks,
when
Santa.
the sink gets stopped up, he blames it on me.
The
and
sink. You want to go there?
Oh no.
no, I'm gonna continue. No.
I'm actually on your wife's side on this one. It's
Look,
the hair.
and when he loses something, his flashlight. Where's my flashlight?
Where's my flash?
Well, at least
Well,
you're not
it's where you left it. No, someone picked it up. Someone moved it.
She does a great Seth.
Oh, here it is. You're right. It's where you left it.
I love this.
I did too.
I am dying, and at least it
Where's
wasn't.
my bear?
He ain't never lost one of those. Let's be honest.
Come on with it.
Nobody touched your beer.
Yeah.
Yes, it was on the bookcase.
Yeah, just like nobody ate my cookies the other day. And I walked,
Nobody.
wait a minute. I
Okay,
left the house
our
the other
children
day.
are too scared to eat his damn cookies.
Well, that's because he's always yelling at him.
No, I left the house the other day and I made sure I checked it. I had 3 oatmeal raisins
Oh, my
left.
God.
I got home and there was only 2. Somebody ate my cookies.
If someone look,
Oh, my
look,
goodness.
let me tell you, if someone ate a cookie, it was his 3-year-old.
No, he ate it and just forgot.
Yeah, 100%. But
Not at
if
6:30 in the morning.
yes,
He's
with his
sleep
coffee,
eating.
he dunked it in his coffee.
I can see it happening, actually. I can visualize it. Old Jeb likes no oatmeal raisin in his coffee.
Trying to
I
keep
like
that
Jeb.
fiber high.
If,
Gotta get things moving. A little bit of
If-
sugar.
if anybody ate it, it was his 3-year-old daughter, his road dog,
That he will never blame anything on.
right? Because she ran out of donuts
Oh, yeah. It was
that he
Seth.
bought her that no one else is allowed to eat but her.
Oh wow.
Because my other kids don't eat. They eat cereal. My daughter doesn't eat cereal with milk.
She wants donuts.
Exactly.
She does eat cereal. She just doesn't eat it with milk.
Okay then.
Dry cereal.
Yeah.
I like a good handful
That's
of
almost
dry
a
cereal.
crime, but still, like, we're not going to go there.
Correct.
So if she was out of donuts, we would have said, "You want a cookie?"
Yeah. 60-minute man,
60-minute man.
Jeb and Harry.
Jeb.
Not
we gotta just
Harry.
stick with Jeb.
Yeah.
That
Okay,
nailed it.
Jeb.
I just
Down
wanted
with
to call him a
Jeb.
Sasquatch again. It really is the only reason I
60-minute
went
man.
there.
60-minute. So Jeb comes out to 60-minute man, forgetting that his beard trimmings are in the sink, blaming it on
Don't-
his lovely, overly supportive spouse
Yeah.
while wearing a custom-made Merry 2024 Christmas jersey from the OneCast crew. I love it. Guys, I think this has been awesome.
It's been fun.
And
but there's a lot of really good stuff in here too.
Yeah, I do want to give Seth, Seth, you've been sitting here, you've been the victim of, shots fired. And we want to give you the ability to defend yourself at all costs if you need to. You'll never win. You're outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned. But still, dude, we are super proud of you, man. Like you're a great friend. You're a great person. You're a great angler. You're a steward of the profession of the sport. We always talk about that culture that we're trying to build. And it doesn't matter if it's one person at a time. That's what it takes, right? 2025 is looking great. We're super hopeful for you. Is there anything that you want to say before we close this thing out?
Just thank you to you guys, my wife, all the people that have supported me through this past year and are looking to support me for 2025. It feels good to have people on your side. It really does. Because as my wife described in this podcast, it gets lonely and it gets tough and it gets dark and frustrating and stressful, and to have people that say, man, it's going to work out. Just keep digging, keep casting, keep doing whatever you need to be doing. It's going to work out. It feels good to have that support, because at the end of the day, it's kind of funny when they say you have a child, it takes a village.
That's right.
It's no different when you're doing this thing, man. You got to have support, and it doesn't matter if it is your wife or your family or your sponsors, or your buddies. Everybody plays a role. Everybody has a specific position that they play in that angler's life, and you guys are part of that. You guys play a role. My family didn't get to travel with me this year, which was a bummer, but we're looking forward to that in 2025. But I was very fortunate to have Pete and Trey come to the Murray event, and man, I cannot tell you, how much fun we had, but how comfortable I was.
Yeah.
Just to have those guys around, it felt good. I felt stress-free, and I went out there and had a good time, and, those things mean a lot to me, So I want to thank you guys for that. And like I said, just my wife and my family and all my sponsors for 2024 and the folks that are looking to jump on board in 2025, because I can promise you it's going to be a heck of a ride, and you won't be disappointed for sure.
I appreciate that, man. Pete, you got anything?
Nope, just you're going to have a great 2025 other than we beat you on Bugs Island and help us continue to grow a culture of anglers helping anglers one cast at a time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.